Welcome to Daytona. It is the FTF Grand National Series presented by Splash and Go Graphics Consi race. The last opportunity for some of these drivers to make the field. Hello, everybody. I am Kyle Riley alongside Tyler Claybaugh.
Indeed, Kyle, we are here. This is gonna be a fun race. A little sneak peek of what we're gonna be getting ready for here in
About an
about an
hour,
hour.
actually. Yeah, probably.
We got some people here in this field. Kind of surprised that they're here. We got Kane Cook, Cosmin Ionescu, a few others as well. What do you think we're gonna get here, Kyle, in this race?
I'm thinking this is going to be a very wild race because, this is a lot of good drivers, people that probably didn't think they'd be in this situation. And overall, it's only a 20-lap race besides the green white checker they may or may not use. So there's, very limited opportunity here. Somebody in the back might have to go fast really soon.
So I believe for this race, based here on some projections, we maybe have about 3 to 5 spots being open for this race for drivers to maybe transfer through. So it should be interesting. Compared to the duels, there's 18 spots open in each race, so there was some hard fighting action. But if you were safely in the top 10, there was not a big reason to make some really drastic moves. So for these, well, looks like 13, 15 drivers here in this field, you got to be up front the whole time to guarantee your chance to be in the big race. So we should see some hopefully wild action here in 20 laps, but nothing too wrecky though.
Correct. There are only 3 guaranteed spots available right now. As the night progresses, that may or may not become more than that. But as it stands, the top 3 finishers in this race, minus Sean Powell, will in fact be in the main event tonight. Sean Powell being the only driver in the field who did not attempt a qualifying run or a dual race. So that's the only reason he's left out of that. But there are also points on the line. The top finisher in this race gets 17 points. Obviously, top finisher who's not going to make the main event tonight, because they can all earn their own points later. That would be the first points position, 44th. That's not in the 43 car field tonight, excuse me. So there's a lot up for grabs here. Even if you don't make the field, you can still turn what would be a bad race from being a disaster to being something that's kind of okay. As the pace car pulls off and we get ready to go green. Kane Cook leading him down in the 55.
Here we go. Green flag is out in the air. We got 20 laps here at Daytona. Let's see what happens.
Now, we saw it in the dual race. The high side really didn't prevail till the end. At the start of the race, the bottom line was the way to be. A lot of people didn't want to push each other up top. Simply because, ever since this tire model was released, these cars are incredibly unstable. You can get on somebody's bumper, and it'll get them loose. If you're not careful, you'll spin somebody out right in front of the whole field. And this is only a 20-lapper, but I don't think anybody's going to want to do that very early, especially because, that could set you up for failure later on. Nobody will want to work with you if you're out here wrecking people.
Yeah, it's definitely true. You don't want to be known as a weapon, especially in a race like this where track positions can be very crucial. You need somebody to help you get to the front, to help get a better chance to lock yourself into the event. Right now, things are a little bit single file. Things are pretty calm. We got Kane Cook and Cosmin and Trey Patton, your top 3 right now after 1 lap here at Daytona.
Judging off of how the dual races last weekend went, the high side really has a lot of people that were just kind of riding around the first half of those duels and then got caught up in some trouble later on. The people that were pushing it and being really aggressive and showed a lot of signs of speed in the duels last weekend are the ones on the bottom. So it's going to be very interesting if some new faces up there are going to pull it off. Right now they're right on each other's bumper, which is what you have to do. 4-car of Trey Coleman getting a good push from Roger Gregory in the 3.
That is true. So far, things still pretty calm. Surprisingly, we got the Highlands starting to make some headway here. We got Trey Coleman leading that group, and then we got the 3 of Roger Gregory. Gregory had a pretty strong showing in his duel last weekend, and he ended up getting taken one of the big wrecks that happened in that race, which was a shame, because he definitely showed some speed in that race.
And they're there. 3rd place right now is side by side with Trey Coleman and Trey Patton. 2 Treys. You have to be thinking, Cosmin doesn't know if he's going to block or if he's going to stay low right now, because if that groove keeps the momentum up, they're going to be in the lead pretty soon. It doesn't take much, especially in a field like this, for you to get to the lead. If those 2 cars lock up on the high side, which, by the way, is perfectly legal here in FTF. I know in real life you get in trouble for that, but here at FTF you can push all the way around the track if you feel like it, and all it takes is about 20 seconds of that, and those 2 on the outside can easily get up to the front.
We'll see how much urgency they have. The 11 of Corey Spencer dips in the line in front of Corey Rexford. I think he's maybe content just to ride right now. Looking through here, think everybody in the main pack all together. I think one car, Chris Edwards, kind of lagging off behind. I don't know if that'll be a viable strategy with how many, little amount of laps we have going here, but we'll see if it pays off for him.
I think he knows that the chaos is just about to brew, because look at these guys. They're already trying to make moves. Nothing too crazy yet, as you said, but it's not going to take long before we're 3 wide, and it's not going to take long before people start chain bumping 4 or 5 cars deep. We saw it at the end of essentially both dual races. In the first dual race, we brought him home pretty clean, but people were just laying. And then, I'm sure if you watched last weekend's broadcast of the duels, duel number 2 had a really wild finish. We had cars with no bumpers finishing the race in a transfer spot, so it could easily be the same way tonight.
Now you brought up a good point about Cosman here. We don't know if he's going to block or pull up or do any. What's he going to do here? If I'm Cosman, I would be trying to maybe make a move up high if this outside line gets to me, because if you get stuck in place here, there's not a lot of room you can go on the low side. Compared to if you're on the high side, you can make it 3 wide or stick it through the middle. But if you're on the low line, you're kind of just stuck there. So I don't know if I want to take that risk of being trapped inside line.
Sorry for almost cutting off, but the action's picking up at the transfer spot, because that 43 car of DiCenzo, is really trying to get underneath the 01. He's pushing him up a little off the corner and trying to dive low. So far it hasn't worked, but off turn 2 there, they got a little bit close. That could have easily been a caution.
And I think it's a little bit too early if you are the 43 to be making a move like that. I mean, we're only about 6 laps in, but even then, it's just too soon.
This is what I was saying earlier. They are so close to the lead, and it took, about 2 corners there? They fell back to about 5th or 6th on the high side, and they're already back because they got organized.
We have issues. The 4, Trey Coleman briefly disappeared, but he is back now. Not impede any of the progress. Here comes Coleman into 3. They're going to get ahead of steam, maybe be able to get up to Kane Cook coming out of 4. We'll see what happens. They got about an equal amount of cars on the high and low side.
Kyle Merkel towards the back got off of the 38 car of Shane Therian's bumper, and that really cost them a lot of momentum there, because they were really going fast. They entered turn 3 like Denny Hamlin in the Clash. They had all the speed behind them, but they kind of lost it there, because as we know, these cars slow down in the corner with all that friction. Ooh, the 1 car hits the apron. That's going to cost the bottom a little bit off turn 2.
It's very, very dangerous to clip the apron here. We saw in the shootout race, Derek Justice clipped the apron ever so slightly, and it sucked his car around, and ended up causing one of the biggest wrecks you've probably ever seen in at least our sim racing history. I don't know about you. Very, very important not to touch that apron here, especially in a race like this with so much on the line.
Oh, the 01 car pushes up the hill, almost gets into the 4 of Trey Coleman and the 3 of Roger Gregory. That thing is not handling for him. And that's going to let the high side get right alongside Kane Cook. Battle for the lead going into turn 1. Kane Cook with very little momentum right now.
That is not good. The outside line getting more momentum here. We'll see something very interesting we watch, during plate races here in iRacing. The outside car, when they clear the leader, always jumps to the inside line, but you don't see too often that they stick in the outside line as they get a little dicey down the backstretch there. Why do you think a lot of drivers try to pull in the inside line and not stay, in the middle lane where they're getting the good help from?
Well, I think it's pretty simple to me. On iRacing, it's essentially the opposite of what real life is. We see so many times where in the Cup Series, they just ride alongside the wall because it's the faster groove by default. You have to put in so much effort on iRacing to keep the high side rolling that it's a safe option, especially in a race like this. If you're Trey Coleman and you clear this 55 car, if you get to the bottom, you can kind of control your own destiny. All it takes is 1 corner where the high side checks up and you could be 3rd or 4th again on the high side. It's that easy to lose all that position.
That is definitely true, and as soon as they get all that momentum, the outside line's starting to lose it again, but they're getting more cars up there. Now they got the 38 of Austin Thierin up there, 3rd in line. He was somebody who was a pretty good standout in his duel last weekend, and he ended up getting taken out, unfortunately, in one of those big wrecks, and I believe he did some barrel rolls, so it's good to see that they're able to get a backup car, to the racetrack to get a chance to get into the main show, here in about an hour.
Let me tell you, man, that high side definitely has the weaker connection of the two, because first we saw Trey Coleman, now we saw the 2 car of Kyle Merkel. A lot of connection issues up there. You got to think that's weighing on some of these drivers' minds right now. All it takes is them disappearing for 0.5 seconds, and we can have a massive wreck on our hands.
Something very interesting here. I don't know if it's going to pertain too much to this race, but the 61 of Sean Powell has a crinkled left rear bumper. I don't know where or how he got hit. But I found it very interesting. I don't see any other cars with damage though. So that's very intriguing.
And we were talking about the sense of urgency. It's about to pick up because this time by we are halfway, a 20 lap sprint here at Daytona, and if you're like 6 on back right now, you're running out of time. You got to think about like where that 61 car is that you just mentioned. He's got to figure something out right now if he wants to get to this front of this pack.
And it makes you wonder how soon are we going to get to three-wide racing, or if we are going to even go three-wide at all. Are these guys going to be content to say, 2x2 is 0-1 once again, making a little bit of an erratic move? You got to wonder if the car handling is becoming an issue for him here.
We saw it in the dual races both times Saturday night last weekend. The cars on the bottom, specifically off of turn 4, you lose all of your grip getting off the corner. These cars have a lot of downforce, but when you're following, it's almost impossible. It's some dangerous bump drafting.
Oh, problems! The 4 up in the air, hard wreck. We got a lot of cars.
The majority of the field. There's 4 people left without damage.
Wow, the 61.
Oh my goodness.
Holy cow! Big wreck here in Daytona. The 4 Trey Coleman absolutely took off. I cannot believe it, Kyle. That happened a lot sooner than I thought it would, to be honest.
And it could easily go back to what I was saying. That 4 car has been blinking quite a bit this race. He's had a very high ping. The car has been jumping side to side. And, even in the actual duel last weekend, we saw a netcode where a car didn't even come close and got turned. You have to think that it played a factor here. The 3 was holding a pretty good line right behind him.
I'm going back here and I'm looking at this wreck. I think some oil got dropped on the track because the 48 came flying into that wreck and absolutely smushed the 4 into the wall as he went tumbling and tumbling through the turns here, through 3 and 4. Holy, that was a spectacular wreck to witness right there.
Looking at this field, at least before they fix damage, it looks like we have about 5 or 6 people that are going to be capable of maintaining the draft still. And if that's actually how it plays out, that's a 50% success rate. We're going to see half of those cars actually make the field. So,
yeah, I'm looking. So I was looking here. We got Kane Cook, Cosmo Inezu, Trey Patton, Cody Atkins. I think the 43 is clean as well. But other than that, I don't see any other. Oh, the 43 has no rear bumper. I take that back. No, we got 3 clean cars, 4 clean cars.
looking back at the back of the field, Corey Rexford may also have an opportunity to fix all of his damage, but and the 38 I'll put into that category of Shane Therian, but almost everybody else is essentially done.
I take it back as well. I was looking here at a replay here on this STF broadcast, and it looks like the 48 got hit from behind, and that's why he ended up going erratically into the 4 car. Really unfortunate.
And you really have to feel for the 61 car. The 61 car, you know, he was going to be in the wreck pretty good, but he got caught on the banking transition between the apron and the banking, and he just got tipped over. And from there, his race was essentially over.
Wow. So we are currently 12 laps in here under caution in Daytona. You got to really think now in this restart. I mean, I don't know how many cars are going to be able to keep up now, you know, with the top 4 since they got damaged. You definitely got to think the urgency is going to be really, really high because we're probably going to restart with about 5 laps to go, if I'd have to take a guess.
Yeah, it's going to be even less time now. I think this restart, we're going to see the entire field bump drafting because you have to, especially if you're one of those cars with damage. You really can't afford to lose any time because you don't know if you'll be able to make that back up. And you can't count on the wreck anymore. There aren't really enough people to crash anymore. Well, actually, let me take that back. We saw the clash this Sunday, or last Sunday, and they proved you can wreck no matter how many cars you have out there. So
that is true. I would not put it past, you know, these guys. And we're getting news from the Force pit stall. They have about 16 minutes required damage. Unfortunately, they will no longer be able to stay in the race. You know, really unfortunate as well because he had a fast car on the outside line. You know, when he had an able-bodied pusher behind him. Tough luck for him. Hopefully, we get to see him next week for our next event that we'll be in.
yes, next weekend we will be at Rockingham, so a very different track. A little bit of a smaller field, so you'll be able to stay out of chaos a little bit better, hopefully. But it should be still an entertaining race, and hopefully we see a lot of these guys show up.
So we're sitting here, getting ready to come to, I believe, 7 to go next time by we come to the line. Do you have a pick right now for who you think can win this race?
Well, we've yet to see anybody past Kane Cook, but looking right behind them, it's Cosman Inezu right behind them. And I've seen it so many times, both in the FTF Cup Series on the NR side of things, or just in official races on iRacing. He is a very capable driver. He knows exactly what he's doing. I think the real question is, will he be willing to make a move? Is he going to be put in a spot where his position in the race tonight is on the line, and he has to do something? I think that's what it's going to take, but if he actually has to move out from behind that 55 car, he has a very, very good chance of making the field tonight and winning this race.
That is true. And on this restart here, I think next time Bob will get the 1 to green. He's going to be forced to be from behind that 55 car. And we'll see if the 5 of Cody Atkins can push him ahead, or if that outside line is going to lose ground. And if that's the case, if you're Cosman, you're going to have to either force your way back down low, or somehow manage to stay in the top 3, because there's no guarantee the outside line's going to go with you. We've listened to some driver communication from the 43 Dakota DaVincio asking about eligibility for drivers. He's asking us the top 10, and I think the top 10 outside of Sean Powell are all eligible to make the main race.
Yes, the only driver in this field who did not put down a qualifying time or attempt their dual race is the 61 car. So pretty much anybody else in this field has a good opportunity of actually transferring in. I would say any car that still has an engine could easily be in the series. Or in a series opener, I should say. Excuse me. As we get doubled up here, one other note that I think I should point out is that there are 2 proximity racing cars that should, in theory, be able to hold the draft still. If the 2 of them get linked up, they could easily make a push here late in the race.
That is true. The 03 of Corey Rexford, who we've not really talked too much about here, because he was kind of just chilling in the back of the pack when that wreck happened. And of course the 01 of Trey Patton, who we've kind of touched on here a bit, with his car having some willful handling, what it looked like when we were at speed. Somebody to watch out for as well, the 27 of Franklin Ash. He did really good in his duel as well last weekend before he ended up getting caught in a wreck. He's going to restart P5, so it should be interesting to see if he can keep up, if he can make any moves to try to get into the main show.
As we come down to the green flag for hopefully the last attempt, I will point out we have 1 chance at a green-white checker. We could very well use it here if things start to go awry. But, look at this field. We have 8 cars probably that are going to be in the pack. We do have a couple that are catching the field right now with significant amounts of damage. It'll be interesting to see if they can get it figured out enough to maybe capitalize on an accident up towards the front. But I think there's a very strong possibility we haven't seen our last yellow, looking at how these guys are going to have to drive.
Yeah, I think so as well. I would not be surprised, if we have to end up going to that green-white checker to end this race. But we could be surprised as well. I don't know. These guys could be pretty clean, but we'll see as a pace car pulls off onto pit road.
Oh, and he goes soon.
He's going quick to 55. That's a bold strategy. I don't know if it may work out for him because the field's going to suck back to him. Cosman gets down low. That's a good news for him. He's not going to try to fight now.
He must have been betting on the fact that so many of these cars have damage and they wouldn't be able to catch up. But I don't think that's going to matter because we have at least 5 that are relatively clean.
As they come out of turn 2, they're single file about 5-6 cars back. Right now we got about 5 in this lead little tail. The 55, Kane Cooks disappeared.
That
there
could be
he
a
is
game changer.
again.
Here turns right in the field. That could have ended really poorly had he not gotten turned.
That was very lucky. He could have spawned back in, at the last second. Cosman could have gave him a bump and turned him. Fortunately did not. As they come out of 4, we come to 4 to go here in Daytona.
And what I predicted earlier is not going to come true. That 03 is too damaged to maintain any of the draft, as is the 43 car. The 38 back there of Shantharian, I think he could have possibly gotten up there, but he was trapped behind all of those damaged cars as we went green, and it's going to cost him ultimately, unless we get another yellow.
So we're looking at some shades here of the early Xfinity race. We got 5 cars in a lead draft, and they're all just kind of doing their own thing. Here goes the 5 trying to make a move. I don't really like that idea because you don't have any help behind you to make that work.
You have to think that the best bet for that 27 and 5 car right now is to work together. Because if they get to the high side, they can actually force the hand of those guys ahead of them. And all it takes is one of those guys jumping out of line, and all of a sudden they have the numbers advantage. This is a 5-car race. There's going to be a line with 2 and a line with 3, unless they go 3 wide. So it's a math equation at this point, as they come to take 3 laps to go.
Kane Cook still leads, then it's Cosman, and then it's Trey, and then it's Franklin Ash. The 5 car looking high again, but like you said, no help. I don't know what that looking's going to do unless he thinks the 27 will go with him. There's no guarantees of that, because if I'm Franklin Ash, I may wait till, 2 to go or the white flag to make that move. But they're looking now to go high on the 01 of Trey Patton.
Also, not going to be a factor in the race, but there was an accident in the back that did not draw a caution flag. The 11 car got turned around and hit the wall. That'll end his day.
As we come out of turn 4, the 27's looking again, but they're just not going to get that run. As they come to 2 laps to go, Kane Cook still leads. We'll see if Cosman wants to make a move. I mean, he's pretty safe right now.
If you were the 84 car or the 55, there's no reason to change anything unless these guys get it together for the 4th time back. It's worth pointing out that 27 car has a little bit of damage. If he gets passed by the 5 is definitely going to go for it. He might be a little bit quicker as the lead car.
That's definitely true. The way iRacing works, if you get even the slightest bit of damage sometimes on the nose of your car, once you have nobody behind you, you sink like a rock. We've seen that quite a few times we've done in races here on iRacing where that's happened. But the 5 still not pulling too far out of the line yet.
Oh, and the 01 is getting off the bottom a little. He is leaving the door open. If Franklin Ash takes it, that could be a huge difference maker, because then that'll force him and the 5 up to the top.
We got the white flag here. Kane Cook still leads. They're still single file. Are they going to make any moves? If you're the 27 and the 5, you got to make your move now down the backstretch. If not, that's your last chance.
You cannot count on there being a 4th spot available. We don't know if it's going to happen. It very well couldn't. So it looks like they're backing up here. They might be able to get the run, but the 5 is looking high. He's not giving them the push that they're going to need.
That's just bad strategy right there. I mean, I don't know if these guys are conversing with each other or not in this race. But they are still single file, and I think, honestly, we're not going to see any change here as we come through 3 and 4 for the last time in this Consi race at Daytona.
Coming out of turn 4, Kane Cook looks like he's going to... Ooh, is Cosman going to look high? He is! Cosman looks high for the win. Coming to the line, it's going to be a photo finish, and it's going to be Cosman!
Wow.
Cosman Ineshu by 6/1000ths of a second. The closest finish we've seen all Speed Week so far comes in the Consi race before the main event. How about that?
With 5 cars left in that pack, I didn't expect the 84 to make that move, but I guess it at least absolutely solidifies the spot in the race.
Yeah, wow. A great show there coming off turn 4. I don't think anybody expected that to happen, but it definitely made it entertaining.
That was a race, Kyle. For 20 laps, that was a lot of action packed in there. It sucks a lot. The field got junked up. We could have a bit more drama at the end. But that was still quite entertaining as the 84 starts to do the celebrations on the backstretch.
And if you enjoyed this, please stick around, because a little later on Flat Out Racing Network, we're going to show the feature race. And that is an 80-lapper, including myself and Tyler Claybaugh, actually. It should be very, very entertaining. Hopefully it ends with a few more cars without damage than this did. But it should definitely be a good one.
Yeah, hopefully see the 62 or the 42 in victory lane. That would be a very ideal outcome for that race. I know Kyle and I both were in the same duel last weekend for races, and we both showed a lot of speed and the ability to handle the field. But it's going to be 43 cars, and it's a lot harder to manage 43 cars, than the 30-some that we were dealing with.
Well, that being said, it was a pleasure to help bring this race to you guys tonight as a bit of a bonus broadcast. Obviously, neither Tyler or I are mainstay commentators for STN. But thank you for showing up for those of you who did. And hopefully I get to see you guys either on the track or watching the stream next time.